Have you heard of the board game Messy Hands? Don't play it. I'm Will Torres, and if I had known what was going to happen that night, I would have walked away when Kayla opened that damn game box. But I didn't. There were 4 of us. Me, Kayla, Brennan, and Jules. We'd been friends since college. Now, we were adults, sort of, with jobs, apartments, and every Tuesday night, a ritual. Game night in the basement of Kayla's mom's house. It was the kind of unfinished basement that still smelled like old carpet and dust, where the lights flickered just enough to feel like they were protesting. But it was familiar. Normally, when our 5th friend, Marcus, was around, we'd play D&D. But Marcus had been gone more and more lately. Business. Travel. Who knows? That's when Kayla showed up with a new box. I brought something weird, she grinned. We huddled around the card table. The box looked ancient. Corners torn. Ink faded. It just said, Messy Hands. Where'd you even find this? Brennan asked. Back of my grandma's closet, Kayla replied. Don't ask. It was with a bunch of old sewing kits and VCRs. Brennan wrinkled his nose. Looks like a knockoff life game. I vote we play something real. Caden? Azul. It'll be fun, Jules shrugged, pulling her knees up on the folding chair. Her voice was calm, as always. Neutral, even when nothing felt neutral. We play 1 round, Kayla said. Just 1. She pulled out the board. It had 4 tokens. 1 stack of cards. No dice. No spinner. Just a path, and rules printed in barely legible font. Kayla, this thing smells like a wet paperback, Brennan said. She ignored him and unfolded the board. I'll read, she said. Rule 1. Draw a card on your turn and follow the action. That's it. That's it. I repeated. Yeah. Looks like a mix of Truth or Dare and Monopoly without money. She held out the deck. Jules, first draw. Jules pulled a card, flipped it over, and laid it flat. Do a jumping jack to advance 1 space. She blinked. Okay. Then stood up, did a single jump, and sat back down. Moved her little red token 1 space forward. My turn, I said. Flip my card. Lick the person to your right's hand to advance 2 spaces. Everyone groaned. That's disgusting, Brennan said. Kayla smirked. Come on, Will. Earn those 2 spaces. I gritted my teeth, rolled my eyes, and gave Brennan's knuckles a quick tongue flick. He jerked back, laughing in horror. Dude, no. You're welcome, I said, and pushed my token past Jules. Brennan's turn. Tell a secret to advance 2 spaces. Draw again. He sighed. Here we go? Okay. I lied about finishing The Last of Us 2. I read the spoilers and pretended I played it. We all booed. He flipped again. Tell a bigger secret to advance 1 more space. Draw again. Brennan gave Kayla a look. You rigged this thing? Kayla held up her hands. I swear. He rolled his eyes. All right. Sophomore year. I dated your cousin for 2 weeks. Never told you. Kayla's mouth dropped open. Casey. He grinned. Sorry. Then flipped another card. Tell your biggest secret to advance 1. His smile vanished. Okay, nope. Not funny anymore. Did you set this up? He asked Kayla. Nope. Didn't even shuffle the cards. I'm not playing this, Brennan muttered. Your turn. Kayla hesitated, then reached for the card, and jerked her hand back. Ow. What the hell? What? I asked. It shocked me. No way, Jules said, reaching over. Zap. She recoiled, gasping. Shit. She's not kidding. I swear this game shocked me, Kayla repeated. Brennan smirked. I don't feel anything. He pressed a finger to the deck. Nothing. Curious, I tapped it with my pinky. It hit like a bolt. A jolt screamed up my arm and into my chest. I stumbled back, knocking into the table. Now no one was laughing. We stared at the deck. It's not our turn, Jules whispered. We all looked at Brennan. He hesitated, then drew the top card. Tell your biggest secret. His eyes narrowed. Nope. I'm done. He grabbed his coat, stormed to the basement door, and stopped. What the hell is this? We ran over. The door was there, but it was sealed. Not locked. Gone. Replaced with brick. Solid wall. As if the doorway had never existed. He spun toward the window. Used a chair to climb up. Still sealed. Behind the glass. More wall. We scrambled for our phones. No bars. No Wi-Fi. Just a dead zone. Kayla's voice trembled. I think. We have to finish the game. Brennan's face was red. I'm not doing this. You have to, Jules said softly. You're the only one who hasn't moved. He cursed. I'm cheating on Myra, he shouted. There. Happy now. Silence. Myra, his wife. They had a toddler. She always baked us cookies on game night. And now we knew. Brennan yanked on the brick again. But the wall didn't move. The game waited. It was Kayla's turn. Kayla sat still for a moment, staring at the board. Then she reached for the deck. We all tensed. None of us wanted to touch the damn thing again. But it was her turn. She pulled the top card, slow and careful. It didn't shock her this time. Point at your least favorite friend to advance to. Oh, come on, she whispered. Seriously, Brennan said, voice flat. Jules looked down. I sat perfectly still. Nobody moved. We'll all close our eyes, Jules offered. Whoever it is, just point and let it be done. We did. A long pause followed. We heard the plastic clink of her token sliding forward 2 spaces. Okay, she said. Done. I peeked. Jules' face was completely unreadable. Brennan stared straight ahead, jaw tight. I couldn't tell who she'd picked. The board didn't react. It just waited. Next, Jules asked softly. She drew a card. Do a jumping jack to advance 1. We blinked. Seriously, Brennan said. She gets a kid's warm-up exercise and I get a moral firing squad? Jules shrugged. Did her jumping jack? Moved forward. We kept going. The game lulled us. 1 or 2 turns were mild. Silly, even. I had to hum the national anthem. Kayla had to drink an entire cup of water. But then Brennan's turn came again. Cut 6 inches from your hair to advance 1. He froze. What? He whispered. He had shoulder-length hair. Thick, curly, always tied up. He loved that hair. Do we even have scissors? He asked. Jules handed over the kitchen junk drawer we'd brought down earlier. Inside, rubber bands, duct tape, scissors. Kayla looked away as he stared at the blade. Man. He ran a hand through his curls. 6 inches is a lot. Yeah, I said. But not more than your life. That line landed heavier than I thought. It took him 15 minutes. He paced the room, muttering. Pulled out his phone again. No signal. Tried knocking on the wall. No give. Finally, he did it. Snipped. Thick clumps of hair hit the floor. He stared at them in silence. The board didn't blink. But it let him move forward. My turn. Draw blood to advance 1. Draw again. Everyone went still. I stared at the card. Then looked up. From where? I asked. It doesn't say, Kayla replied quietly. I opened the junk drawer again. Box cutter. Of course. I held my breath. Pressed the blade against my index finger. Slowly sliced. Pain bloomed hot and sharp. A single line of red welled up. I showed it to the board. Moved forward. Then flipped the next card. Draw more to advance 1. Draw again. Wonderful, I muttered. I pressed harder this time, same finger. Blood beaded up, running down to my palm. The board didn't react. Try somewhere else, Jules said. So I dragged the blade across my thigh. The pain was worse, deeper. A small drop hit the concrete floor. The board finally responded. I moved my token again. I drew the next card. Draw more to advance 1. From somebody else. Oh, come on, I breathed. At least there's no draw again, Brennan offered. Bitter. I'll do it, he said. His tone was dull now. Exhausted. Wait, Jules said. Head wounds bleed easier. She had a point. I took the box cutter and knelt beside Brennan. Sorry, I said. He didn't respond. I sliced the top of his scalp, light but clean. Blood pooled and slid down the side of his temple. That was enough. My token moved again. We were almost to the end of the board. Just 2 or 3 spaces left. Jules' turn. She hesitated before reaching for her card. Her hand trembled slightly. Text someone you love that you never want to see them again. We all stared at it. At her. She looked down at her phone. Still no signal. But then, her screen lit up. Full bars. Just for her. How does that even? Kayla began. Doesn't matter, Jules cut in. This is what it wants. Her thumb hovered above her screen. Then she typed something. Silent tears streaked her cheeks. She had sinned. And just like that, the signal vanished. Bars gone. She slid her token forward. Then she looked at me, dead in the eyes. You realize what this game is doing, right? I nodded. It's unmaking us. Kayla's hand hovered over the deck. She didn't move. None of us spoke. We were each sitting 1 space from the final square. Except her. She was 2 behind. 2 turns from being done. She drew her card. Break your own hand to advance 1. Draw again. No, she said instantly. No, no. No, it has to be you, I said softly. The game's clear. I can't, she whispered. Her breathing picked up. She clutched her wrist. I can't do this. Brennan leaned forward, voice quiet. We didn't think we could either. Kayla stood up suddenly. Paced. Hit the wall with the side of her fist. Not hard. Not enough to break. Just enough to let something out. She picked up the hammer we'd used earlier to try smashing the window. Stared at it. This is insane, she muttered. We're breaking our bodies. Bleeding. Sending texts we can't take back. For what? To win some sick board game? It's not about winning, Jules said. It's about escaping. We were all staring at her now. No one blinked. Kayla raised the hammer, held it just above the edge of the table, her left hand resting flat against it. She looked up at us, tears in her eyes. I hate this. She slammed the hammer down. The crack was sickening. She let out a shriek, sharp and raw. Her body collapsed to the floor, clutching her broken hand. We waited. Nothing happened. Then, her token moved forward. She rolled onto her side, still crying, and drew again. Break someone else's hand to advance too. Her mouth dropped open. No, 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 no. I stepped forward. I'll do it. Brennan cut in. Don't be a hero. I already had my hand broken, I said. It has to be someone else this time. Kayla was hyperventilating now. Don't make me do this. I sat down on the floor, raised my hand, palm facing her. You want to be done, right? Her whole body shook. I can't. You can. And before she could argue more, she slammed the hammer down. This one broke 2 fingers. I screamed. She screamed. The board allowed it. Her token moved 2 spaces forward. She was now tied with us. It was Jules' turn. We held our breath. She flipped her card, pointed someone to advance to. We froze. We all remembered what happened last time a point card came up. Kayla pointed at Brennan. His secret spilled into the room like smoke. But this was worse, because we didn't know what would happen. Jules looked up slowly. This is a trick, she said. What do you mean? Kayla asked. If I point at someone and something horrible happens? What if this is how it ends? What if it needs a final price? I can't go through another. Kayla stopped herself. We all remembered. Her scream. The sound of bone. I can't do this again, she said. You don't have to, Jules said. I'll point at myself. My stomach twisted. Wait. But she didn't. Her finger turned, slowly, deliberately, toward her own chest. The board lit up. Not literally, but the air around it changed. Warm. Still. Her token moved. 2 spaces. Jules was done. She exhaled. Sat back. Does that mean you're free? I asked. She didn't answer. Kayla was still sobbing, cradling her shattered hand. Brennan leaned back in his chair, one hand holding a towel to his bleeding scalp. My own hand was barely usable. We were all near the end. Brennan reached out, flipped his card. Text your partner you want a divorce to advance one. He stared at it. Frozen. Phones don't work, he said. Then his screen lit up again. Full bars. Just like Jules. He looked down, thumb hovering. I already told her I was cheating. This is different, Kayla whispered. He nodded slowly. Typed. I want a divorce. He hovered, then pressed send. The screen went black. No signal. His token moved. Now he was next to Jules. Finished. He dropped the phone onto the table and buried his face in his hands. Silent. Kayla looked at me. It's your turn. I didn't want to draw. Didn't want to see what came next. But I reached for the card. It didn't shock me. Not this time. Pointed someone to advance one. Same card. Same decision. I looked at the others. Jules was done. Brennan was done. Kayla was still in. I could point at her. But I remembered her scream. Her eyes. How she couldn't even hold her hand anymore. She looked at me. Voice small. You don't have to. I turned my hand around. Lifted it. And pointed at myself. The board didn't hesitate. My token moved. I was finished. We all stared at Kayla now. The last one. Kayla sat alone at the board. Her breathing was ragged. Her eyes bloodshot. Her right hand swollen and purple. Her left trembling. She was the only one left. The rest of us, me, Jules, and Brennan had reached the end of the path. But the game. It hadn't stopped. The deck still waited. And so did we. One more turn. Kayla, Jules said softly. You're almost there. Kayla shook her head. I can't take another one. You don't have a choice, Brennan said. His voice wasn't cruel. Just tired. Kayla looked at each of us. There was no anger. Just that broken look people wear when they know the world isn't fair. Then she reached. Her good hand slid across the table. She touched the top card, closed her eyes, and flipped it. Pointed someone to advance to. The silence was immediate. Heavy. 2 spaces. Enough to win. Enough to finish. But we knew what happened when you pointed. We'd seen it. And we all knew. This was no metaphor. Please, she whispered. Kayla, I said, you don't have to do this. She looked up, face contorted with guilt. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I do. If I don't, we never leave. Point at yourself, Jules said. I did that last time, she said. You saw it. I pointed at myself and nothing happened. But this one's different. 2 spaces. The air felt tighter. Like the room had shrunk. Like the game was listening. Brennan leaned forward. Then point at me. What? She breathed. He stared at her. Eyes glassy, defeated. I've got nothing left. I broke my hand. I bled for this game. I ruined my marriage. Brennan. He nodded. It doesn't matter anymore. Just finish it. Don't do this, I said to both of them. We don't know what the rules even are. Maybe it lets you out if you don't choose. You saw what happened when Rupert refused, Jules said quietly. There is no mercy here. There's only progress. I could feel the game watching. It didn't have eyes. But it watched through pressure. Through silence. Through time. Kayla looked back down at the board. Then at her broken hand. Her good hand slowly lifted. And pointed. At Brennan. No regrets, he said. The sound came instantly. Like a pop. Like something imploding from the inside. He was gone. No scream. No collapse. One moment he was sitting there. And the next. Only the chair remained. Tipped slightly to the left. Empty. The board didn't react. Not with sound. Not with light. It just let her token slide. 2 spaces forward. And now. She was done. The last space. The end of the path. And just like that. A click. The sound of a lock. Real, physical, loud. We turned together. The basement door was back. Whole. Framed. Closed it. But not sealed. Kayla fell to her knees. I rushed to her side. Held her as she sobbed into my chest. He's gone, she cried. I killed him. No, I said. No. The game did. Jules stood behind us, arms folded. Her eyes never left the board. Her face was unreadable. None of us moved for a long time. Eventually, I stood up and walked to the door. Pressed the handle. It opened. The hallway light beyond was blinding. Clean. Warm. Like nothing had happened. We walked out one by one. No one spoke as we climbed the stairs. Not until we reached the front door. Outside, it was dawn. Birds chirped. The sky had turned lavender and pale gold. It was morning. The world had kept spinning while we were down there. Like nothing had happened. But we knew. We'd left part of ourselves in that basement. One of us more than the others. We didn't talk much after that. Not in the car. Not even the next day. Kayla went straight home. Jules offered her a ride. But she said she'd rather walk. Said the air might help. I knew it wouldn't. I just nodded. Jules and I watched her walk off, one hand cradling the other, still swollen, still purple. Every step she took looked like she was carrying more than her body weight. And maybe she was. The moment Kayla disappeared around the corner, Jules finally spoke. You think he's dead, Brennan? I asked. She nodded, arms crossed tight. She hadn't cried once. Not even in the basement. I don't know, I said. But he's not here. Yeah, she whispered. I noticed. We both looked down the street again. No sign of him. Just morning light on pavement. Just birds that didn't know anything had changed. That afternoon, I tried texting Brennan. No response. Tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I thought maybe he was just in shock. Maybe he needed time. Maybe he was out there somewhere, wandering, trying to explain to himself what we couldn't explain out loud. But a day passed. Then 2. On the 3rd day, I drove to his house. Myra answered the door. Her face was puffy, like she'd been crying for hours. Her eyes were hollow. I asked if she'd heard from him. She shook her head. Not since the text, she whispered. Do you know what that was about? I opened my mouth, then closed it. Because what could I say? That we played a haunted board game in a locked basement that demanded blood, confessions, and sacrifices? That Brennan volunteered to disappear? That he asked for it? Instead, I lied. I don't know. I told her. He didn't say anything to me. She nodded slowly, stepped back, closed the door. I stood there for a while, listening. No footsteps. No movement. Just silence. We met again a week later. Jules, Kayla, and me. At a small diner 3 towns away. Neutral territory. New air. We didn't bring up the board at first, but it sat between us anyway. Invisible. Still there. Kayla looked thinner. She wasn't eating. She just stirred her tea with her left hand, the only one that still worked properly. Finally, she broke the silence. Has anyone heard anything? I shook my head. Jules just stared at her plate. I went back, Kayla said. To the house. You what? I asked. She nodded. I had to know. Jules leaned in. What did you find? Kayla's eyes went distant. The basement door was gone. The whole wall sealed up, like it never existed. I felt a chill crawl across my skin. You didn't go in? There was no inn left to go, she said. We sat in silence again, all of us imagining the same thing. What if that basement only existed for us? What if it wasn't even part of this world? What do you think it was? Jules finally asked. We all had our own theories. A cursed object. A trap. A test. Maybe even punishment. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said the only thing I was sure of. I think. It wanted to see what we'd give up. Kayla wiped her face. Jules whispered. We gave it Brennan. We stared at each other. 3 people who should have been 4. And then, a sound. A sharp ding from my phone. A message. From an unknown number. 1 word. Your turn. I turned the phone around to show them. Their faces went white. Kayla's cup slipped from her hand and shattered. None of us spoke. Because we knew. We were done with the game. But the game wasn't done with us.